As a kid, I just know I was just not like other kids, like I believe my father back in Malaysia, he's a gangster. So as a kids, we move a lot. And so I think that was the reason why anxiety was created, because we always had to pick out and run.
The million-dollar question is why some people suffer this extreme anxiety and some people don't.
So you might have something happen to one person and you might have the exact same thing happen to another person, but the way that those two people experience those events will be very different. So often anxiety stems as a result of trauma or a very stressful or drastic life event that has happened.
If you need a quick mover, I'm the one. I know how to pack very quickly. Now I can laugh about it, but that was my childhood, like every 1 or 2 years, and then we have to pick everything out and then move. I can't tell people what exactly my father do. I can't invite friends to our place. I also being told, even when I meet my father outside, I need to pretend I don't know him. Who get to tell by their own parents when you meet me outside, pretend you don't know me because you don't know who I'm hanging around with?
If you are exposed to, racism and homophobia and social exclusion and systematic bullying and violence, and you're not safe, then of course you're much more at risk of developing an anxiety problem or a depression problem.
Anxiety does run in families quite often. Sometimes that's potentially genetic, but also because we share the environment at home. Maybe there's some trauma in the home, or maybe the whole family went through a traumatic event together.
Young children can also develop anxiety disorders. Often people think, they grow out of it. And so they don't really give it the attention that it probably really needs. So we might see things like school refusal and kids just not wanting to go to school. If your child is sick or has a sore tummy, actually sometimes it can also be an indicator of anxiety, particularly if you've taken them to the doctor and the doctor can't find anything. So then you start to think again, is something else going on for them?
My anxiety started when I was 12. We've got those plastic chairs at church with the armrests, and I sat down in the chair and I just kind of leaned over and it broke. I can laugh about it now, but I didn't know that would set me off, and everyone just kind of laughed, and I was but I was really embarrassed. And so for probably right up until I was 24, every time I saw those chairs, I thought how I felt like my whole world was going to end because of that one little moment.
If it's untreated and with no intervention, that can persist into adolescence, and then that can persist into adulthood.
My teens to early adulthood were a very, very messy time for me. Like if I was in trouble or if I was in an uncomfortable situation, like when I changed schools, I would literally clam up, couldn't handle it, and I would just it's weird to say now, but I would just hit myself and cry and hyperventilate. But because I was a teenager, it was me playing up or attention seeking and all that. And I only just realized as an adult that that was anxiety.
Adult disorders are often childhood disorders growing up.
Our brains are amazing, but what they get fed, what they do more of, they get better at. So if you're worrying and thinking about things all the time, it's like you rear a groove to just get really good at that. You'll be hyper aroused, you have all this cortisol stuff so that you can fight or flight. You're like this, and that really feeds anxiety.
I actually think why I got it in the first place was the fear that Speranza's going to break up. My brother and I had spent all our teenage years dreaming of being Beatles, and we were going to do this, and we were going to take on the world, and we were going to write songs, and all of a sudden he was gone, and I think, bang, I went down.
Anxiety can be about the lack of control. And one of the things that we definitely had during COVID and through these latest weather events in our country has been that lack of control and, people not being sure about the future and what the future held.
When you think about, just the COVID virus itself, it triggers some of our deepest underlying fears, about our mortality, about contagion, and it was something that was unseen.
The flip side to COVID was it was really comforting to be at home and work. This was the first time I'd really worked from home properly. In a working day, when I was at the office, I'd be very, very careful about how much I drank because I can't go and use the bathroom outside of my house. So I'd only have a very small amount of liquid in the day to ensure that I don't have to go and use the bathroom. So now that I was working at home, I could drink as much as I want because my bathroom's right here. So there were some really comforting things about working through COVID. But there were some also really distressing parts as well.
We still have a remnant of some of the anxieties with COVID. We're still seeing young people who are really disengaged from school. We're seeing adults who are still struggling with getting back into social routines, and I think we will probably see that in the years to come.